Hey everyone, it's Juno at Detour Shirts. In this video, I'm interviewing Richard Dristy, who is a professional t-shirt designer. You can go to his website on his Instagram as well and see some of its artwork. It's amazing, just really cool artwork. And I really wanted to interview a professional to get some tips and tricks from someone who's doing this for a living with clients. So you can see like he knows his stuff. He knows what it takes to make a great t-shirt, and he's giving you some really good tips. Now, I also wanted to warn you that in this video, sometimes the internet connection wasn't that great, so sometimes it's going to go in and out, but don't let that stop you from watching the whole thing. He has some really good interview tips, especially at the end in the last few questions that I give in this interview. So stay through the whole thing. Hopefully this really helps you with your print on demand as well. He doesn't do print on demand, but I think the same tips can apply to us that are doing print on demand. So without any further ado, here's the interview. Hey everyone, I'm here with Richard Dristy. How you doing, man? Thanks for being on the
Hey
show.
man, yeah, doing well. How you doing?
Great. Thanks so much for being on here. I follow you on Instagram. I'm one of your followers, and I thought I'd have you on YouTube too. I just love all the stuff that you're doing, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, I appreciate it. Yeah, it's for having me on, man. Looking forward to chatting.
Awesome. I got so many questions for you. I know you don't do print on demand, so I got questions around design. You're awesome artist and stuff, and love the way that you're working and showing people how to do that. Before I start and ask you questions, though, I'm gonna read a little bio so people can get to know you a little bit. Okay, here we go. Richard is a seasoned freelance graphic designer with over 8 years of industry experience. Specializing in apparel and branding, he combines his love for great outdoors with his passion for design. Based in Boise, Idaho, Richard collaborates with great brands in the outdoor space and other industries spanning across the US and abroad. He has about 20K followers on Instagram and growing, with some of my favorite tutorial reels and some really cool music. His website, dristydesign.com, is filled with amazing designs and a shop with stickers, cool texture packs, and custom font. Richard Dristy, thanks for being on my channel, man. This is awesome.
Appreciate it. Appreciate the intro.
Yeah, of course. That's so cool. All right, I'm going to just jump into it. I got lots of questions for you. So first, how did you get started with design, especially with apparel design?
Yeah, so when I was, young in school, I always liked drawing, and I didn't really even think you could get a job out of that. So eventually, like I had a connection at a company where I started working in like shipping and production and printing and stuff like that. So like not even related design, but eventually at that company I was able to work into like more as a production designer. So I just, that's where I learned like InDesign and a lot of stuff for printing and stuff like that. But yeah, after that I went to an ad agency, and there I learned how to, it's just all advertising type stuff, which was it's cool to learn. Everything's focused on like trying to get the end user to do something. So that's just like, it's just cool experience. It was I liked it. I love doing ad work, but it was a cool experience. But yeah. So after that, I went to a product marketing company, and that's where I started like apparel and different products like that. And yeah, it's like as soon as I started out, like, okay, I like seeing my stuff. So you can draw something and then boom, you have a t-shirt to wear. It's like, okay, this is awesome. So I did that for some years, and that was like a super cool experience. And after that I went to a design agency, and there I did a lot of apparel as well as branding, logo design, stuff like that. So it's kind of the both, where you get to do stuff you see on product, stuff branding for companies that, it's all fun stuff, especially the clients are super cool. So that's kind of how I got into apparel. But I've always liked apparel designs. It has like the most freedom as far as design, so I think it's probably one of my favorite things to design for sure.
That's cool. Wow, what a story. Evolution. I didn't realize you had so many jobs.
Yeah, it took a while to get here. Yeah, and I did, like I said, I didn't even know like I could get a job doing, or even doing stuff that like fun design, because there's everyone likes their own type of design. Like if you like production work, like I think that's great, but that's hard to do all day every day. So I didn't know you can kind of go towards like more the artistic route and drawing more and all that stuff. So I feel lucky that I get to do that every day. So
Absolutely. And I love your style too. So tell me a little bit about your style. How would you describe your design style that you're doing right now?
yeah, I you know, a lot of my stuff is, you know, I guess you could say definitely in the outdoor space, but the overall look is, you know, gritty and
Hmm.
tough and textured and stuff like that. That's just stuff I've liked, you know, so it's kind of stuff to my preference, and I would say that definitely that's more or less my style. But I would, yeah, it's hard to say. Like the style is always changing and evolving, but like the way I came up with whatever I'm doing now is like just over time. You just keep, like, people are always asking me, it's like, how do you develop style? I think you just make the stuff you like over and over again, and you end up to like leaning on the same tricks and doing the same stuff on certain things and evolve eventually. So like the consistency just ends up being what it is, and you know it'll come out of what you like. So that's more or less, you know, say like, oh, this is the way I want my stuff to look in the future. I just kind of kept making stuff, and it's eventually how it ended up looking.
Yeah, I love that. Your style evolves with you, right? As you grow and learn and maybe
Yeah.
like this other new thing and like trying it out. And yeah, I love that. That's great. What a great answer. Some of your videos you show that you're drawing by hand, and then others you're drawing on like a tablet. How many of your designs are hand drawn on paper or drawn with using apps, or is it kind of a balance there?
Yeah, I mean, I used to draw more on like paper, but like the iPad is so awesome, so
Hmm.
I do a lot of almost all my drawing on an iPad. But I do use a pencil and paper like thumbnail sketching. So if, you know, if I read a brief and I just want to get some like loose ideas out, like, you know, 10-second sketches, and maybe I do a few of them. It's like that's like a good way to visually see like the shit that's not going to work. You can be like, oh, that looks funny, or the balance is weird, or whatever. So you can eliminate a lot of bad ideas within the first couple of minutes. You know, loose, shitty sketching for. So that I'll do on paper. But if I'm going to do a more detailed sketch, use my iPad, and then anything that's hand drawn like fine art, I do on my iPad as well. So
Very cool. Very cool. And I've seen that you use like, do you use Procreate, or are there any other apps that you like to use on your iPad when you're drawing on your iPad?
yeah, now I use Procreate. Procreate, it's awesome, man. It's such a good like app. I mean, you can, I've seen, you know, even like tattoo artists use Procreate, and you can do
Hmm.
so much with it. It's like super inexpensive. I don't know what it costs right now, but you pay like a one time, and you can do, you know, anything on it. And then I mean, I love, you know, Adobe products, but Adobe Creative Cloud is freaking expensive, you know.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
in
Yep.
comparison, you're getting a lot of bang for your buck with Procreate. So I couldn't live without it.
Nice. Nice. I love Procreate. I wish I drew more on my Procreate. I have it on my iPad, but I don't know, man. It's just, I think I just got to do it. Like set up some time, some Procreate
Yeah.
time every day, and just get better at it. Because I know
Well,
once I get into it, I'll probably use it a lot more. So.
what do you use to draw now?
I'm so old school. I do pencil and paper, and I
Okay.
scan it in,
Yeah.
or I take a picture and put it in, and kind of trace over it. And like, I use Affinity Designer, which is a lot like Illustrator, but like you, I didn't want to do the Illustrator Creative Cloud and pay over and
Okay.
over. So it's kind of like an Illustrator um, app with vector based app. So Affinity Designer is what I use. Yeah, usually when I design my stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, you should try Procreate. It doesn't take too long. I watched like one tutorial and was able to go from there. But it's once you get the hang of it, it's awesome. And then like when you go anywhere, like I can't go on an airplane, you know, without my pad now. It's like I gotta. It's awesome. So yeah, definitely get it.
Nice. All right. This is probably a bigger question, but I know you showed this on Instagram and some of your stuff. But what is your kind of your process from maybe even getting an idea? How do you start off with an idea and then kind of making it into kind of a t-shirt design? So take us through your step process from starting with nothing and then getting to something.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, typically it's going to be for a client project. So like I'll get the brief and info from the client, and then from there, I like to research the client a bit, just understand, you know, stuff they've done in the past, what they do, you know, what kind of their vibe, and you know, just get a good understanding before going into any design. But yeah, after that, I'll go into looking for like inspiration, you know. So I'll look online for stuff, you know, that I think falls in line with what I'm trying to do or the vision I'm going for, and I'll look, you know, I use stuff online. I'll use books. I use Pinterest for looking inspo. You don't want to do that too much because you end up mimicking other people's stuff, which I get. You know, you don't want to. You got to be careful not to replicate what you see unintentionally, because I mean it's easy to do. But you know, what I like to do is I'll get a bunch of image examples of stuff that I like or ideas, and then I'll get some examples of stuff that I don't think even match the project, stuff that's, you know, just a little different, but I like it, and then somehow I try to figure out how to blend that, you know. So ultimately what you're getting is something a little different, you know. So you are referencing stuff that people have done, but then you're also referencing stuff that just totally has a different look and vibe. And so when you kind of combine that, it's, you know, it's a little more unique that way. But yeah, after that, after I gather all that inspo, that's when I'll start sketching, you know, coming up, you know, eliminating the bad ideas. I might go into Illustrator, you know. Sometimes it depends on the design, but sometimes I'll you know, either sketch on paper. I can like loosely mold things together in Illustrator and kind of get like a, you know, kind of like a sketch and get close to where I want to be. But yeah, after I'm good with that, I'll kind of just start working on the vector portion of it. You know, obviously with Procreate, it's not vector. And when I'm done drawing that, I do put that into Illustrator and vectorize it. So everything I do is pretty much vector.
Nice.
And then,
Nice.
yeah.
What a great process. I love that you do the research, because ideally, like, that's what you should do for all t-shirt designs. Like, but a lot of people who just jump on print on demand really quickly, you know, forget about all that research part. And you do that a lot, and make sure that, you know, not only you find out what the client wants and do research there, but then also you're researching for ideas and stuff. And I think that just makes a better design, right? And in the long run, instead of just throwing stuff on there. So very cool. Thanks for sharing that process. That's cool.
Yeah, sure.
Well, one of the things I really like about your Instagram reels in particular is the music behind it. Tell us a little bit about that. What's kind of your favorite music right now, and how important is music to you for designing?
Yeah, definitely. Like, you know, I love music. I'm pretty much have my Spotify on all day, every day while I'm working. So yeah, that's the fun thing with reels and whatnot, is just adding into fun songs that I like. And but as far as music that I'm into, I mean, I'm into everything. I know everyone says it, but I like certain things from every genre. I mean, I'll listen to rap to country to reggae. You know, like one day it's, I don't know, we'll have Wu-Tang one day, and then the next day I'll be listening to Shania Twain or whatever. You know? It's all over the place. But as far as like a favorite band, I've always loved Blink-182. That's always been a favorite of mine. So
nice.
Yeah, I think anything in that 90s, early 2000s, like, you know, multiple genres in that time period has always been like a favorite to me. Maybe stuff from when I was young, I guess.
Nice. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
You can really see that or hear that on your Instagram. It's really good music. I love it. All right. What's my go-to? You know what? I have a hard time. It's just weird, but I have a hard time listening to music. I like music when it's just by itself, but as I'm doing work, I don't know why. Because I guess because I'm typing text and trying to write titles and stuff a lot of times, and so when I'm thinking about music, I don't know, but I love music. I usually just do the pop stuff, like the popular songs right now. You know, yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, my wife, she works in a different field, but yeah, she'll listen to music sometimes at work. But she's kind of said the same things. Like, I can't focus with a lot of music or hearing the lyrics, so she listens to like screamo sometimes she's working. I'm like, I would go crazy. Yeah, it's like, I guess you can't. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's harder to follow along so you can focus better. But I'm like, that would make me like I don't know, have an anxiety attack if I was listening to that all day.
If I was just doing design on it and not having to write titles and description or whatever, then or editing, like editing a video is really hard to listen to music at the same time. So yeah, but
Oh, yeah,
I do love the 80s rap stuff, 90s rap stuff that you put on there too. So that's
for
kind of
sure.
what I grew up with. So yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah, definitely a go-to for me.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit. So you don't do print on demand, which is why I wanted to have you on here to kind of get a different flavor and figure out like what people could do with design, right? And so uh, you're making it a business as well. So tell us a little bit about that. How do you make money with design? Is it just client work? Is it something else that you're doing on there to help those that are watching here that may want another stream of income with design?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I work as a freelance, graphic designer. So yeah, pretty much all my projects are, client work. So whether it's apparel or branding, logos, it's all commissioned work and yeah. So I mean that's pretty much how that's the whole thing pretty much. But yeah, I do make fonts and like picture pack and stuff like that with digital assets, which is more of a creative outlet for me just to make
Mm,
those things. I like making those things, but I sell them. That's another thing. So I actually really did selling digital assets because like once you make it, it's there and they and you don't have to like remake it. It's just it you can just sell for indefinitely, which is pretty awesome. As opposed to like having inventory or I like apparel, but yeah, I don't want to have like inventory in different sizes and stuff, and then have to do the
mhm.
shipping and all that in my office like I do. Yeah,
Yeah.
seems like too much for me right now. But yeah, the digital stuff is awesome.
Yeah, I agree. I love the digital stuff because then you don't even have to pay for printing. They just download it, and then it's good.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's so cool. All right, the more questions. I love that your space is super creative. We're seeing a little bit of it right here, but when you go onto Instagram, you can see the whole wall of different things. How important is that for you as a creative? How important is kind of creating your space and getting it all?
yeah. No, I think it's super important. Like you want to be inspired. You want to be motivated. You're like you spend I don't know 9 hours plus a day in your office, so it's like you want to be motivated by that space if you can. I always love to have stuff, and a lot of the stuff that I have, pretty much all of it is just art from designers and illustrators and stuff for that or that they're people that I look up to that I like, and it's yeah, I think it's I have more of versus of my own work just because I think that's what will motivate me to make new stuff and keep me inspired. So I'll look at something, I'm like, yeah, damn, that's awesome. And then maybe I'll, feel inspired to just on a day that I'm tired, I'll, hopefully keep grinding.
Nice. Love it. Yeah. Very inspirational, motivational. I love it. Yeah. If you guys haven't seen this, go check out his Instagram and look at all the stuff on his wall. It's amazing. I love it. I love to look to see if you add more stuff too and just trying to see like, oh, that's new. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was saying thanks. Yeah, it's fun. I guess it's part of almost like interior decorating, but
It is.
that's fun in itself. Yeah, I have a bunch of other stuff I just haven't hung up yet because it's I like
Okay.
to like really plan it out. Like it might be a little overkill, but there's times where I'll like kind of Photoshop shit in there and see how it looks. And it's like hard to get stuff. Like once you put nails in the wall, you're like you don't want to redo it.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely a little fun thing for sure.
Very cool. Very cool stuff, man. I love it. And I think you showed on one of your videos, if I'm not mistaken, you making some of these things on here that you have on your wall too. So that's really fun.
Maybe. I'm sure if there's probably like a couple things, patches or something like that. But yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of it is like prints that of people like illustrators. Like one of my favorite illustrators, Brand Hart. He has some band posters, Blink 182 posters. Those are
Oh,
like
nice.
some of my favorite things in here. So for sure.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. All right. This next question might be a little controversial, but I noticed that you're the kind of graphic, like a true graphic designer, and you draw your stuff by hand and everything. So what is your take on AI and, the rise of AI and people using AI for graphic design and things like that? What is your take on that?
Yeah, that's a good question. Like I do a lot of the drawing and stuff, myself, and that's because I like to draw. That's what as a kid, that's what I like doing. So it's more fun for me to do it that way. I feel fulfillment out of creating something from scratch. But yeah, I mean, AI, that's a good question, man. I think AI is definitely gonna, it's affecting the industry already. I'm sure it will definitely affect a lot. I always am curious, is like, what jobs does it replace in the creative field? I think it will. I don't, who knows? We'll see how it goes. But I do think it will replace some jobs as it gets better, because right now it's fairly new and it's getting better every year, and it's like kind of mind blowing already. So yeah, I don't know. And I think, I think being specialized as a designer or an illustrator, maybe in certain industries might help protect your job a little bit. I would imagine. I think, yeah, because ultimately, like, someone can put in a prompt and say, I want to design with this and this and this, but like that person putting the prompt doesn't have years of like creative experience, design experience. So it's like they may come up with a result, but is it the best creative result for that project? Might not. I think a lot of clients, a lot of good clients are going to still want experts. They're still going to want to hire experts. But there's going to be some clients that may not be your ideal client, that have lower budgets, that will probably rely on AI eventually. I wouldn't be surprised. Like if you have no budget, and I could see that happening for sure. What do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting to hear your take on it, because you're coming from a client-based one, and those are great ideas that you're talking about. I'm coming more from a print-on-demand T-shirt stuff. So I'm thinking, I think we're kind of on the same wavelength, maybe. I think AI is a tool, and so
Yeah.
kind of like when all the graphic design on computers came out, or Procreate came out, like people were like, "Oh no, this is it. This is the end to real graphic design." And actually, it's the tool that helps designers do more, right? And so,
Yeah.
like you said, you kind of still need that that experience, because people that don't have the graphic design experience and use AI will come up with something totally different than someone that actually does have the graphic design experience and eye and all of that with AI, and can kind of use it and create something even better, right? So, yeah, I think you're right on there.
Yeah, I think no matter what, though, it's beneficial, like, to know, like, to learn AI, like, start, as a designer, get familiar with it, because I imagine it's going to be, you're going to be dealing with it at some point, good or bad. So hopefully you have a good understanding of it, which, I still have to get more, learn more about it. I've played around with certain AI things, but I have yet to figure out how to work it into any type of workflow for me. But it's been fun playing with it.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I use ChatGPT because I cannot write, for shit. So I definitely use ChatGPT. That's the one I couldn't. Yeah.
Same. In fact, I made it a goal of mine this year to use ChatGPT every day to create graphics. So that's what my challenge to myself is, just so I can learn it. Like you said, like we got to learn this as designers, how to use it better and how it works. And so yeah, I've been using ChatGPT with text to image with Dolly 3, just to see what kind of things it pumps out, and it's been pretty cool. It's been pretty good experience. So.
Can you have it tell you, like, give you a prompt of something, and you're like, hey, give me the next bestseller, whatever for this genre, like, spit out a prompt for you?
It's not that good yet, but it does. If you, the thing I like about ChatGPT right now is you can kind of talk to it like a person almost. So, and in other, for example, in Midjourney and Leonardo and some of these other AI, you have to write the prompt almost exactly what you want, and if it doesn't do it right, you have to go write that prompt again. The difference in ChatGPT is if you write a prompt and it comes up, and let's say you want the shirt a different color, you don't have to write the prompt again. You can just say, oh, that's cool, but just make the shirt blue or whatever, stuff like that. So
Right.
I like
Okay.
that aspect of it, where it's starting to learn conversation, like talking to a client or talking to a designer that way. So
Yeah.
it's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
it's gonna be crazy to see where that stuff goes. I mean,
Hmm.
only I feel like we were talking about it a year ago, and it was like brand new. It seemed like at the time, and
Oh yeah,
a
it's
year
moving
later.
fast, very
Yeah,
fast.
yeah. And I
All right.
can't imagine 1 to 2 years from now.
I know, I know. The way that it's going, I think it will eventually get to what you're saying. Like, I need a T-shirt for a blank, create this, and it'll just, come up with something crazy. So, that
Yeah,
interesting how that might disrupt the design field if it comes to that. But we'll
yeah.
see.
Kind of scary.
Kind
Yeah,
kind of scary, but kind of
yeah,
cool too.
for
All
sure.
right.
Yeah.
Changing up a little bit. You talked about you go to inspiration when you start off a design. You do some research and then go and get inspiration. Where's the best places for you to get inspired? Where do you go, online or wherever?
Okay. Yeah. I would say, yeah. I mean, I definitely go online. You can, whether it's Google, whether it's Behance, Pinterest has some stuff. I like, I have books. I like to use books. Even looking at their artists, like I said, you got to be careful not to replicate stuff for sure. But there's, tons of artists on Instagram that inspire me. So those are all good places. But also, like, if you can get inspired by your hobbies or your interests, like, that's super awesome, because that, one, it'll motivate you to work on stuff, and it also, like, fuels your passion both ways, for your passion for design, your passion for your hobbies. Like, I'm into outdoor stuff, hunting, fishing, and so a lot of my work is around that. So, like, I'm stoked to work on that stuff. That's fun, and and ultimately, like, you get more work from that. If you're, like, even just recently I got into, like, archery, and that's been super fun. But it's like motivated me to make more archery designs, which actually gets me more archery clients, and it kind of, like, goes back and forth. So it's I think if you can work in the with it, or in around your passions, so you can mold the two passions together, that's the most fun.
Wow, I love that. I love that because I think that's the same for print on demand. When you're just starting out in print on demand,
Yeah.
if you can do what you love, you won't get burnt out as fast as if you're just trying to do, random stuff here and there and don't know what to do. Start with what you love, and then that will help keep you motivated. I love that. That's really cool. Just a couple more questions. The big one here is, what's your biggest tip for t-shirt designers or sticker designers that are just starting out? Maybe they, haven't done it yet. You've been doing it for a while. What's some of your biggest tips?
Yeah. Yeah. I would say having, like, a good understanding of trends, and, like, what
Mm,
makes something wearable. Like,
mm,
there's times where it's like the artwork can be super amazing, but, like, if no one wants to wear it, then it's not a good T-shirt, even though the artwork is, like, the best. So I think definitely understanding trends, try to embody, like, who that end user is, who's going to be wearing that shirt. Like, what makes them want to wear that is kind of how you need to be thinking when you're, coming up with the design. Because, like I said, the best thing could be cool, but if it's not wearable, then people won't wear it. And every type of person likes a different type of shirt. So it's like, you really got to understand their preferences. But yeah, I would say that's one. Definitely understanding trends, understanding the print process too. Like, a lot of screen printing and stuff like that. I've done some work in screen printing. That just helps you know how to set up files, how to, like, you have in the back of your mind when you're even coming up with the design. It'll save you some time and some headache. That way you're not having stuff kicked back to you. The printer wants you to do something. You can kind of just design according to whatever the print process is going to be for that. So I would say that as far as apparel, those were, yeah, that would be stuff to keep in mind.
dude, that's perfect. That's perfect because I keep saying that too. Like, it's good to hear from an actual like t-shirt designer that does it for real for clients and stuff. Because, like, I've been telling that to my followers too. Like, you gotta understand. Like, you can't just put stuff on a t-shirt and expect people to want to wear it. You have to understand what people want to wear, and, like,
Oh,
if
yeah.
the yeah, it's not gonna. People aren't gonna buy your stuff if if it's something they don't want to wear, right? So you have to understand those trends and the like what makes a good t-shirt and all of that stuff. So perfect, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's ultimately the job, whether it's apparel or something else. It's like figuring
Yeah.
out who that end recipient is, and trying to, you kind of have to like be in their shoes a little bit mentally. Like that's a lot of the job is figuring out who that is, because one client one type of business totally different from a different one. Like an outdoor company versus an auto company, like a car.
Absolutely.
It's like their look and feel, what they like, what they want to wear, what their logos should be. It's like totally different. So you have to really try to get in their shoes a little bit, and that's, I would say, that's a big part of the job itself. Doing that. And
totally.
that's a big benefit of like working in your passions. If you're in like I like the outdoor stuff. So, like if I'm making a shirt, like I'm kind of just making a shirt for me. Like what do I like? What do I want? Like, oh, I like that brand. Now, if that brand had this kind of shirt, like I would sure buy that. And then I just got to make that at that point. So that's just a perk of designing for things in and around your passions and hobbies.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, another benefit for designing for your passion, because you would know what you want to wear as a person that loves that thing, and so just helps you. Yeah, perfect. I love it. That's great. All right, so last thing, what can we look for in the future with Dristy Design? What are some things that you think you're going to be working on in the future? I'm looking forward.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just keep doing my thing. I get to work with awesome clients that I personally like. I get to work on artwork that I like and just enjoy working. So it's like I'm pretty lucky. I think anyone that gets to design and make stuff for a living is pretty fortunate. So I get to do it, and I get to do it for things that I like. So I feel super lucky that I get to do that. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing that and try to get better, try to keep learning. I think you can always learn something new, keep evolving. So just keep at it for the foreseeable future.
That's awesome. Awesome. Great thing. And if people want to learn more about you and connect with you, where's the best places for them to find you?
Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. I always say, like, if you have questions, feel free to message me. I try, if I can help, I could answer any questions or whatever. So it's like, I know a lot. I know a good amount about the stuff that I do. So it's like, if you're curious about something or whatever, I'll share. I know for sure. So hit me up.
Very cool. Very cool. And I'd love to plug your dristydesign.com. Like you mentioned earlier, you have a font on there that you created, which you show on Instagram, which is really cool. I love that font, and the distressed textures. Love that.
Yeah.
I love putting distressed textures on my designs too. So check out his website too. Cool, man. Yeah. This is awesome. Thanks so much, Richard. This is what a cool interview. You're such a cool guy. Thanks for having being on this interview with me. This has been great. Lots of cool tips, especially for like it's the t-shirt design, right? Like whether you do it like you're doing it with client work or print on demand, I think the tips that you've shared just work for all of that. Yeah. So thanks so much. Thanks so much.
Man. Yeah, no, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. It's been cool talking to you. Yeah. If I'm ever in your neighborhood, we're not too far.
Yeah, we're close.
We'll hang out,
Definitely. Maybe grab a hamburger or something, some food or something like that. Be cool.
For sure, man.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right, man. Talk to you later. See you, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.